This episode is brought to you by Sword Tiling, lead tiling specialists in the Northeast, covering all aspects including commercial and domestic. They've got you covered. So head to sword_tiling on Instagram and tell them St. James's Pod sent you. Welcome back to St. James's Pod and another World Cup special. In this episode, we will of course be talking Newcastle United as well as all the latest from the World Cup and England progressing through to the next round. I am joined by all three of my co-hosts this evening. You know them, you love them. There's Pete Owen, Alex Dawson and Thomas Page. Have you been enjoying the footy this week, lads?
I can't get enough from it on.
Lovely, mate. Lovely. Fucking love football. Love the World Cup.
I love football.
Well, let's get on with the show then. So first up, we've got Newcastle United news. So in the news this week, they have appointed Paul Midgley as head of youth recruitment. He was the youth scouting manager for Man City for 6 months. Now, I wanted to ask you lads about this because I get a bit of an impression that he might have just been at City to see how it was gone and leave, because 6 months is quite short, and he went into the youth scouting manager, and before that he was Leeds United's head of the National Academy recruitment. So I get a sneaky suspicion that we might have tapped him up and he's gone and done 6 months gone and leave at City. Yeah.
Could well be right.
I just love the fact that we're getting these stuff in from like the bottom to the top of the club. Like, yeah, best of the best, like
proper best of the best, yeah.
Guys from
Again,
Man City,
by the way, you didn't know it was a position that needed filled? Well, I didn't know that.
Wait.
I don't think anyone's... I mean, I know nothing's been announced that anyone's necessarily left the club, but if it hasn't,
but the skeleton stuff left.
Been there?
The skeleton stuff left by Mike Ashley, like, we probably had a load of like vacancies in the club, which just didn't have stuff. You had Lee Charnley like doing everything by himself at the top, and now we've fully replaced him with 5 people who are well above what he was doing.
Yeah. Well, I guess recruitment was just done like for all levels by the same people. Yeah,
it sort of highlights the lack of infrastructure we had again. Keep going on about it, but it's like we didn't have a head of junior recruitment. All of a sudden we do.
Shocking that we haven't had one for a while, and considering that, you know, we're obviously we are the biggest club in the Northeast. Let's not have it any other way, but we keep getting beaten to some of like the best young talent from the Northeast by you know, the Mackhams and Borough. Like, their academies have been streets ahead of ours for years. So like having this new position filled, hopefully, is something which can start, you know, attracting the younger talent like through the academies.
Those young South Americans in.
Exactly. Well, I don't know about the young South. Well, yeah, maybe. But like, at least we should get the grassroots like sorted out, like for a start, like from the local area.
They're literally the youngest, sorting out the youngest age in the club.
We'll get people from like Switzerland's best club and that, so we'll get some young boys in.
Yeah, of course we will. Brilliant. Not even laughing at that fucking shitty joke.
It's because you didn't get it.
The penny dropped after 5 seconds.
Another section of the club that, well, it wasn't even under the club's umbrella, it was the women's team, and now we've just seen them smash the record for the highest attendance at the latest cup game at St. James's Park.
Outside of the FA Cup final for highest FA Cup,
yeah, outside of the final, it's the highest attendance ever.
Outrageous, considering how we're in the fourth tier?
Yeah, I think it is the fourth tier, yeah.
Daft.
And Barnsley are in the same league as us, aren't they?
It's
not like they're high up. Did you catch the goals for that? Like, I think all 3 of them were absolute screamers, weren't they?
Seen the winning goal.
Yeah,
I don't know whether it was a cross or a shot, mind.
I I think it was a shot. Like, to be fair,
I think it was a shot. I think it was a shot.
Oh, actually,
we're kind of taking that away from it. We're kind of start slating this. We're kind of do that. It was a fantastic goal.
Yeah.
I watched some of the interviews afterwards, and they actually said that at half time they picked out the goalkeeper and said like she's always off her line, so get some shots in, like anytime you can. Yeah, they actually picked that out and then obviously did it twice. So
fair play.
Fairly confident that it was a shot, but yeah, the keeper was. I mean, I doubt she'll be watching this, so I don't need to stop myself.
Defend us, Sam.
She had a touch of the Jordan Pickfords about her, put it that way.
Short arms.
Eddie Howe celebrated his birthday this week, so happy birthday, Eddie. FA Cup draw. We saw the FA Cup draw and we got Sheffield Wednesday away.
Sheffield away, yeah. Good, I think it's a decent tie forward. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it's good draw, that, isn't it?
Sheffield away.
Club.
Big allocation as well. We usually get about, I'm sure we usually get about 4,000 now. Quite possible we'll get a full stand. So,
yeah,
I'll be looking to try and get away to that one, like, to be honest.
What about is it? January?
It is the weekend of the 7th, mate. So it all depends on the TV schedule, who gets selected.
Mm-hmm.
Looking through Twitter, I think there's a lot of people suggesting that we could get selected for that. But you've obviously got your two or three Premier League clashes. It's like City, Chelsea, that'll be one. Is it Man United, Everton? Is that one? Or is it Man United, Everton I'm thinking of?
Man United. Man United, Everton, yeah.
So they could well get picked over, but I think we would be a good old-fashioned tie, like, to be honest. But you'll always get a lot lower league club scraping out the telly as well, don't we? So we'll have to see. But it's either 7th or the 8th, I think. But another good one. Moves on to the Bournemouth game that's just sold out today as well. Was it today? Just sold out the fourth round of the Carabao. Brilliant support, that, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. Like, there's literally no other club in the country like the team at the moment who could sell out back-to-back third, fourth round games for 52,000.
It's nuts, like.
It's fucking silly. Like, the clamour around the club now for tickets. This is
It's
off the charts.
It's on a Tuesday night as well. It's not like a weekend game. It's on a Tuesday night.
Unreal.
Yeah. You know, when we played them earlier in the season in the league, what was their away support like?
Oh, tiny.
Bad.
Well, yeah. I'm sure we joked that they brought a coach up.
It was bad. Like, it looked like a couple of hundred, but I mean, I was probably thinking about 500, if that. But it's obviously a long way to go.
Small club, small town. Like...
Was it a weekday we played them though? I've got a feeling it was a weekday. Was it a Saturday? Was it? Oh, fair enough then. But I mean,
it was pretty quick off, I think.
They are a little bit of a family club, so whether they've got that much of a die-hard away support, I don't think so. But no, they didn't send a big support, and I cannot really imagine them sending many up on a Tuesday night so close to Christmas.
Yeah,
it is a long way to come.
The Leeds tickets sold out as well, didn't they? What's the uproar there?
They haven't sold out because they've had to. You obviously always keep some back for general sale, because they have to. I don't know how many they've kept back, but they went on sale. Was it last Thursday, Dawson, was it? I think.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Thursday on sale to members, season ticket holders and members. They got just snapped up instantly. The uproar on Twitter after was pretty amusing, to be honest. People are kicking off, demanding stadium expansions because they're saying it's not fair that they kind of get tickets. I mean, just like anything really, just like any... It's popular now. All of a sudden, there was no uproar an hour ago. So, no, it shouldn't change. I don't even think the stadium needs to expand.
It's kind of the same argument with season ticket, with
away
tickets,
exactly.
sorry. Like... But with that, like, a lot of it's like knowing someone who's either a member
Yeah.
or who's got a season ticket who can get one for you. Like,
Yeah. You're snook
So,
at trying to
it's
start,
like- and-
trying to start your loyalty points, aren't you?
oh, knackered. Well, that's
Yeah,
the
you-
thing. Like,
It's a bit of a
with
broken
that,
system, I reckon.
it is especially how you get like some coaches, who sell tickets on the day, so they clearly aren't going to the match. They've probably got hundreds of loyalty points because they run the coaches for every away game,
Yeah.
and they buy tickets up just to sell on the coaches on the way down. Like, I think that's like something that needs to be addressed, but just to make it fairer for the average person, maybe.
It swings in roundabouts for me, like, because you do get your lads that go week in, week out, Wednesday nights to Brighton, whatever, they go all the time, they accumulate their points, and they do it the way that you have to do it, which is fair play to them. But like you say, you have got lads, you've got lads who are sort of past the age of wanting, or blokes, sorry, who are past the age of wanting to go to all the away games. They've got 200 loyalty points. They're obviously getting tickets for mates. Don't get us wrong, I don't have any loyalty points. That's how I get my away tickets, just through people I know, because
It's because you've got no other choice.
Yeah, I can't get them. They're talking about the away game to Sheffield in the FA Cup. You get your loyalty points by going to the non-league, like the
Cup games.
lower tiered teams, like in the early stages of the FA Cup and stuff like that. But the way our club is at the minute, that's going to have at least 50 loyalty points to get a ticket, because anywhere they go, it's a high demand. So you've still got no chance. But it's hard. It's almost gotten to the point where it's like anyone who wants to start out trying to get loyalty points is snookered. Like, they're not going to do it. Like Dawson says, the whole selling on thing. But I believe a couple of we've got
The
a
rich
couple
get
of
richer
fans.
with points.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing you can do really. It's going to be a hard thing. But if you change it, there's going to be a lot of kick-offs. People like shit will hit the fan because people won't be happy. The lads who have been going in for years and years, they're not going to be happy. That people are just going to. But in a way, it's got to be fair. I don't know how to do that, but I know there's a couple of lads at Sunderland, Sunderland fans in my office at work. I believe their loyalty point system, I don't know if it's every 2 years or 3 years, the loyalty points go back to zero, and it's fair game for everyone again. So it gets refreshed. So it's like a turnover. So like say a young lad who's 15 he's not old enough to go to the away game. Not 15, 13, whatever. He's not old enough to go to the away games. In a couple of years' time, he is. So then he can start getting these loyalty points. As long as he keeps going after the 3 years, then he's got nothing to worry about, really. But
it's not every 3 years it goes down to zero, or is it every three?
Yeah,
like your point expires after 3 years. So like,
I think
if you've got 300 points,
expire. I think
It's just like rolling kind of.
Yeah, could be wrong.
That's not a bad shout, to be fair. Maybe it should be a bit longer than 3 years. But
if
you say 10 years, that would be fair. Or 5 even.
Yeah, even 5, 10, whatever. Because it is flawed a little bit, because if in 5 years' time I go to all these away games, 5 years' time they go back to zero, but in 6 years' time we're looking to win the league, you're thinking, I've gone to all these games and I can't go to these ones because I haven't got the loyalty points. So it's a hard one. There's always people who aren't going to be happy about it. You can't please everyone, but I do think it needs looked at. But you've got to feel for. I think you've got to feel for the lads who've gone every year for years and years, supported them through all the shit we've been through away. But there has to be some sort of give and take, I think.
Could you not even introduce like a something where you can transfer your points? Like, so somebody like the example you gave, one of the older lads who's been going year in year out, accumulated these points but isn't going to go anymore. They could transfer their points over to somebody else's membership and get somebody like a young lad who, like you say, hasn't had that opportunity. Then he gets 100 points or whatever.
It's going to be someone transferred. It's going to be someone in know, though, isn't it?
See, it's not who you know. It's not what you know. It's who you know. It's not like the fact that they've been at any games.
You'll transfer to his son, his nephew, whatever.
Rich get richer. Yeah,
I suppose.
It's like rich people hoarding all the wealth when they die, like that with like keeping your points in the family.
All right,
Yeah, fair enough.
Or friends or what, like.
Or they
It's a hard
transfer
thing,
it
it's
into a
hard.
big pool, and then like the pool, like, and then it's like it's dished out in like a lottery of some sort for the membership.
Encouraging
Or
gambling within the club.
Or they just, you might as well just scrap them and let it be a free for all.
Yeah, possibly.
But then again, that's not fair on people who've put the graft in, put the travel in. You know what I mean? Because it is the whole thing. Like, obviously, like the Liverpool games, the Everton game, the Leeds away, it'll be this Forest away. That's when more people will want the demand because they want to go to these games, they want to go to these grounds. They don't want to go to Brighton on a Sunday night and shit like that, do they? Like in Norwich and all that. They don't want to know. It's more for, I think they start crying like it hasn't usually been like your average home game that people have been crying for tickets, but because it's Leeds, because it's New Year's Eve, people want to go, so they're kicking off. They kind of get a ticket, and that's just home games. So you can imagine what it's like for an away game.
Yeah. There's no real way around it, though, I don't think. I think one of the problems as well is that we've gone from Mike Ashley to like where we are now. It's not like we went from being all right and
Exactly.
it being enjoyable to support the club to then it being as we are now. A lot of people got like disenchanted, didn't they? And then it's like, I know quite a few people that had season tickets and give them up, either out of protest or just because they were fucking sick of going. In fact, Pete, didn't you like give yours up and then come back and then?
I cancelled it twice in one season. So it was when Bruce took over. I was like, I fucking had enough of this. Like, cancelled it just out of pure hate because like I had Mike Ashley and Steve Bruce. I was like, this is fucking diabolical. This, like, I'm not paying my hard-earned money to watch this shit. It's just depressing. It ruins your weekend. So I was like, nah, I'm done. Cancelled it. And then 2 weeks later, I got it back because I missed going to the match. And then I think later on, I cancelled it for the rest of the season. But then, just out of pure, I just literally spat me, like, hoiked my toys out the pram, spat me dummy out. I just couldn't face it anymore. But then I went and got it back. And I got Dawson to come along as my wingman.
Good job you did.
As always.
To lift us up when I can't see.
The swap seats when there's two tall guys in front.
The swap seats when there's too big in front.
Well, yeah, it is a good job you did, and like that's what I mean. Like a lot of people maybe didn't in time, and then but I mean,
well, that was the whole thing. We've spoken about season tickets before. People that gave up and didn't want them back knew the consequences. There was a whole thing of, I think we spoke about this before. The whole carry on of people who've had season tickets for the last 10 years should get priority over the new season tickets.
Bollocks.
The fucking shouldn't. They cancelled it. They knew what the crap was. Luckily enough, I've decided to get mine back. Bruce was still in charge. Like, I missed going to the match. I just wanted it back.
We didn't win a game in 14
games. I
games.
didn't win 14 fucking games, So,
do you know how much money we'd put into our season tickets?
But I know. But
by the time to see one game.
Oh god.
So it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. The whole demand for tickets and stuff like that. You know what I mean? People that like shit to say, but obviously people come out the woodwork, right? Who all of a sudden start supporting you. So it's going to get worse. We know for a fact it is. But going to win the league.
Gotta win the cups, man. Gotta win the cups before they win the league.
I don't think, man. Go straight for it, man. Go for gold.
Treble's on, innit? So
Well,
it's going to be awful after we
not to get carried away or anything, but we're going to win the treble.
All right. So, any other Newcastle United news before we move on then? I know the boys are coming back from holidays and stuff, ready to head off to Saudi, but that's all I had on my ticket.
Well, just
Oh, yeah.
Player of the month. Well deserved.
Player of the month. Yep, very much deserved. I was going to mention as well that some news or very much rumours, but they're trending towards James Maddison potentially being a big move in January. The England boys, our boys, have been in his ear, it sounds like, tapping him up. And yeah, he's definitely in the few interviews that have come out in the last few days it definitely sounds like suspicious in certain ways.
He's laughing along with it, isn't he?
Is that not just us hearing what we want to hear, though? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, thinking like, I want him to come, so anything he says, we're hanging on every word, like, ooh.
But he did say when he got asked the question, that was a bit of a naughty question, with a cheeky grin on his face, like, as if it's like, yeah, he knows something, like, maybe there is something some irons in the fire, like, on that front, but, I mean, he's not going to be
a bit of crack about it, hasn't there?
Oh, 100%, of course.
There's definitely been talking about it. They wouldn't not have, even just having banter and all that. They might, well, you never know what's been said. Well, like the whole, you mentioned that on the last pod page with Coventry boys, Maddison and Wilson. So they'll be having a good bit of crack there. Like, but how long? Just out of interest, how long is it? How long has he got left? A year? 6 months? 18 months?
18 months. 18 months. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So probably still looking for 50 million at least.
There'll be a big fee, but I don't think they'll want to let it run into like down to his last year. I think they'll look to either
price will just go down, won't they?
But that's what they're doing with Tielemans. Like they're holding out for a price, they're not getting it, and they're letting it run down. He's got like 6 months left now. He's 7. His contract runs out at the end of the season on January the 1st. Foreign clubs can tap him up for free. So
that would be for them to lose both of them players in potentially in the same transfer window. That'd be a massive blow for Leicester. But you're right though, Tielemans, like, yeah, he could. I mean, he's another one that we could look at for sure, I think. But it definitely seems as though Maddison's been, had a few of them in his ear. So yeah, see where that one goes.
Yeah, and moving on to England then, to the World Cup. Did you see that FIFA came out and said that the fans can wear rainbow-coloured clothing in stadiums now?
No, I didn't.
After we had the debate in the last episode.
Yeah, was it? I think it was the Wales second Wales game, was it? No, before the man with the flag situation, like Wales fans had been.
Yeah, it was before that. Yeah.
Going into the ground with like
hats with
rainbow-coloured bucket hats and stuff, and I think like that was one which like they started to allow that, and yeah, it just seems like FIFA just every like big thing that's come up, they've been reactive to, but just to something which they just didn't need to allow in the first place to be a big thing.
They rushed their own back through, didn't they?
They did, yeah. But I mean, obviously, it's good that they did sort of back down to that one and actually have some common sense. The lad with the flag, that was quite something. Like he had pretty much every major topic on his body at once.
Iran, was it Iran, Ukraine, and then the LGBTQ flag?
Yeah. So yeah, he was covering all issues.
Don't believe anything he's getting prosecuted though, is he? I mean, obviously everyone thought, oh my god, what is going to happen to him? But I think it came out that nothing's going to happen to him. Has anyone else heard that?
He spent the night sort of with the police, and then I think the Italian embassy had like
thing over there, is he?
Shocking.
Wrapping up, lads.
Yeah. So he was let out after just one night. So I mean, a lot of that was a big surprise, to be honest. I thought that
no poo.
Yeah.
It's a weird one though as well because they know the eyes are on them at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they did something, there, it's shit.
Yeah, I wonder if it's almost like the best time to get arrested over there.
It's definitely not the worst, but like that's the thing. If they'd done anything dramatic, the whole world's media would be on them. Like,
exactly.
So they may be trying to sports wash or whatever you call it, like use this to be like, look, we are lenient, we are accepting, like we aren't gonna like chop people's hands off on that for running on a pitch with a flag. Whereas if that happened in a league game in like 2 years ago, like the guy had been fucked. So I don't know. They probably played a blind eye, just let him out.
Yeah.
Do you know who the guy was? Was he a local or?
No idea.
No, he's Italian.
Nah. Was he?
Italian?
Yeah, he's Italian bloke. That's why the Italian embassy were involved in sorting them out, getting them back out of the police custody. But yeah, obviously, it's a bit. Well, yeah, Italy aren't in the World Cup, but he obviously was over there and supporting the causes and stuff. So yeah, he was. It was brave of him. Like for sure, but it got the reaction that he wanted.
Okay, let's move on to England then. I don't want to spend too much time on the England USA game because of how bad it was, but there was a few questions I wanted to ask you based on the back of it. First of all, do you think Harry Kane was carrying an injury through that game?
Obviously, there was a lot of talk before whether or not he was going to start because he went off in the Iran game with, I think it was ankle injuries or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, the scan.
I don't know. We talked extensively about how in the last pod he was dropping way too deep, and he was doing that a hell of a lot more. It seemed in that US game, just seemed like he was searching for the ball at all times. Like he wasn't getting. We weren't moving the ball up to the forwards quick enough, so he was dropping deep. Whether or not he was carrying an injury, probably. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like he was obviously non-effective throughout the game, so there could have been a chance that he was carrying the injury, but it was one which, I could see why Gareth Southgate decided to throw him in. Trying to get the win and in the second game and guarantee us going through after just the two games. But yeah, I think, like we said, we could have done with resting them in that one, to be honest.
There's been a lot of talk though that we didn't actually necessarily go out to win that game, and it was more just if we don't get beat in the USA game, then we're in a really strong position for the last game going into the Wales game. So for me, it would have been the perfect opportunity to give Wilson a start and rest Kane if he is carrying. I mean, he's obviously tired as well. He's played every game for Spurs, and then he's come straight into the World Cup. And then the big talking point after the game was why no Phil Foden. Obviously, the reason Southgate gave was because he doesn't play in the middle for City, which was quite strange. Basically, he said he doesn't play there for City, so I couldn't bring him on for Mason Mount. But then he brought Rashford on the right. He plays on the left for Man U.
I'm sure Foden has played there a couple of times for City.
Yeah, he definitely has.
It's an absolute fob off. Like, Foden doesn't play there. Well, he's not exactly. He doesn't have to play on the right in the front three constantly because he just doesn't. He's an adaptable player. He's a versatile player. Sorry, so that's bollocks. That like there's a lot of rumours that they might have fallen out for some God knows reason. I don't know, But I think that might have been the papers making up stories because nobody knew why he wasn't using Foden. But we all know Southgate's got his favourites. But it was the whole game was just very
Shite.
shite. But it was so slow. It was like, it felt like I was running through fucking treacle because it was just hard to watch and slow. And it was like when they were passing the ball, they were taking 3-4 touches. Like, instead of like one touch out to the next player, 4 touches out wide, and back into the middle, out wide. Like, just constant. It was like, what are we watching here? Like, but we said it all before. Southgate the football looked shit in the group stages, did in the Euros, but then we'll get through, no problem. We'll win the group, and then hopefully you'll start cranking up the gears. But the USA, I think it was more. It seemed to be more the performance against the USA for me. It was so we looked second best. We looked like. USA looked fitter, they looked sharper, they looked hungrier. Obviously, I know they had
chances as well.
Well,
exactly. Credit to them.
I think they had a lot. They did play well, really well. They didn't look like the USA of old times. They looked competitive. So yeah, like you say, fair play to them. But whether we underestimated them or what, I don't know. Or whether we were just sort of going through emotions just for a comfortable point, not to panic, not to stress.
Yeah, I would say the determination was by far with the US rather than with us. The way they played, like in terms of pressing, the energy, everything else was just streets ahead of where we were, and they knew they had to come out and do something because of their opening result against Wales was only a draw, but the way they went about themselves, I thought, they looked really good. They dominated the midfield. The Tyler Adams and Musa looked really, really good in that midfield for the US, and we just couldn't live with them for certain parts. And I think tiredness, fatigue definitely played a little part, but just even desire, I think, from some of the players on the day just wasn't there. For me.
You hear the rumours that they turned the aircon off before the game?
Oh, really? No, I didn't hear that.
No.
Yeah, so apparently the aircon wasn't on before at the lead up to the game. Obviously, that is the same for both teams. But I was wondering whether partially that, and then partially the different kickoff time. Because it was, I think it was a nighttime game compared to our first game.
Yeah.
So
there was, I think it was 1 o'clock local time the first game, and then 10 o'clock at night for that US game, which maybe they couldn't acclimatise to it as well, potentially.
Because I watched the interview with Rashford after this game. He actually spoke really well, which I wonder whether they're trying to build him up to be future captain or, one of the real prominent England players. But he was saying, he got asked basically, is it harder to prepare for a game because you're not used to playing football at that time? And he actually mentioned that he struggles to sleep the night before games anyway. So you can imagine, then going all the way till 10 o'clock. And if it's the first time as well, maybe that did have an effect on them. I mean, again, it's the same for both teams, but...
Well, the US...
Sorry, go on, Paige.
Yeah, the US had played at 10 o'clock for the first game against Wales, so they were used to it from their stance.
I was going to say...
I think they're in the future as well, though, so that'll be a 1 p.m. kickoff. Technically, it's not a 10 a.m. kickoff over there in Qatar. It'll be a 1 p.m. kickoff for them. Because they're not playing in England. I don't think you understand that they're not playing in England yet. So
No,
so it's
I
like
thought I'd take the piss when you said they're playing in the future.
no, they're not actually playing.
I get what
In
you mean
Qatar,
now.
they're not actually
Time
playing at
difference.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
So the
Well, I was-
first game will be at 1 p.m. The last game
That's
will
what
be
I,
at 10,
that's what I was going to
10
say.
p.m. kickoff.
Because the people were moaning, weren't they? Because obviously our first game was in the middle of the day. So, like, say it was like 1 o'clock or whatever. Southgate had them training in the middle of the day in the prime heat. And I remember hearing it on maybe TalkSport, I don't know, saying, like, why has he got them training at that time? Well, obviously, they acclimatise him for the sort of middle of the day heat, which is when they're going to be. So, makes you think, well, I wonder if he's had them training late at night when the kick-off's going to be. Because that's us. I think we're 7 o'clock the rest of the tournament now, aren't we?
Aye.
So he's no doubt got them training late at night just to help them to adapt to that time. Whether that's sleeping in for longer in the morning, whether they can, whatever, I don't know. You'd think he would. If he's got them training early for an early kick-off, you'd think he's doing that for a late kick-off just to help them.
Should help them keep a good routine for the rest of the tournament now, though.
Yeah.
So it is positive for us.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's giving them a slight excuse, but you never know. It can obviously affect them. Like, they are humans at the end of the day, aren't they? So, do we want to just go over some like the other groups and stuff, or maybe just go through all the groups?
Might
where
as well
they stand.
take them through.
Yeah. Do you want to take us through then, Alex?
Aye. So Group A, who are the group that we're going to face in the next round. Netherlands top the group. Senegal finished second in the end. So we got Senegal in the next round.
Yeah.
And Netherlands against USA in the next round. So that should be a good game. I can see that going either way, to be honest. Netherlands haven't impressed too much for me, and USA have exceeded expectations, even just by getting through the group, I think. And then you've had
They'll be well up for that one.
Oh, proper. And then it is Wednesday today, so you've had France qualifying with a second team that they played against Tunisia and lost 1-0. But then you had Australia beating Denmark. So Sam's woke up to this news this morning. He wasn't loyal to his country and he didn't stay up till 3 a.m. to watch it, but it's a pleasant surprise to wake up to.
Yeah, I think, like, obviously for me, I don't care about Australia at all. But
whoa, at all? We've got a player playing for them, you know.
That's what I was going to say. Is like now that we have a player playing for them, and obviously, like, this is a sport they're not very good at. It's kind of like it's nice to see them getting through. But yeah, I mean, any other sports generally, like, people say like, "Oh, you're rooting for Australia." I'm like, no, why would I be?
Well, obviously, like, Denmark finished bottom of the group on 1 point, and they were like obviously fully expected to go through. Yeah, obviously Tunisia did get the result against France today, but even France's second team, like, there's some really fucking good players in there. Like, you'd still expect them to be able to get past Tunisia, but yeah, fair play. So they'll end up facing Group C in the next round, which is playing now, and Argentina are 2-0 up with about 15 minutes to go. So they're top of the group with 6 points currently. Poland are second on 4 points. Mexico are second on 4 points. And they've got the same goal difference because Argentina are winning 2-0 against Poland. Mexico are losing, or winning 2-0 against Saudi Arabia. So they need it to turn over a 5-goal deficit. It's currently on 4. So as it stands.
Oof.
Well, actually, I don't know how it's going to work because I've got the group in front of us here and they've got the same goals for and against. So as it stands,
go
the same goal
head-to-head
difference. Yeah, so that was a draw.
Yeah, it was.
It was 0-0 because Lewandowski got the penalty saved. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know if there's a playoff or what, because
I believe
same amount of goals for against.
We've literally just had a text of one of the lads there who said Mexico are out on yellow cards as it stands.
Oh yeah, Japan got through on that a few years ago.
Yellow cards? That's ridiculous, man.
Oof.
Japan went through on fair play. I'm sure it was must have been the 2014 World Cup. I'm guessing.
Do you reckon
So
now
they need to score one more and then they're through?
So if Mexico score one more, if Argentina score one more, Mexico are through.
Right.
So it's literally any goal either way now sends another
or a
team
yellow card, like for the Poland. I mean, imagine that.
If the Polish teams like try the best to try and not concede and keep giving yellow cards away, they'll also go out.
Matty Cash going in on a 2-footer, and you're like, "Oh, calm down, son. Don't be getting them cards."
But to be fair, the defender,
if there's a red card, does that mean
it becomes double?
Because reds will be ahead of yellows, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it would count double.
I don't know how many are in it, like between the two teams, but it's fascinating to watch for 15 minutes. I've got both games side by side here.
But if
hopefully
Saudi
we can bring that before the end of the episode.
I'm sure we will. So as it stands, if Argentina top the group, they'll face Australia in the next round, and it'll be Poland against France. But I wouldn't be surprised if that changes in the next 15-20 minutes.
So you're just talking about obviously England's games. Like if we carry on through the tournament, they'll all be at the same time from now on.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other times? Is it 2 hours before that one? So is it 5 p.m., 7 p.m.?
I think it's the 4 o'clock and then 7 p.m. our time.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Is that 2 games a day? Is it, Thomas?
Yeah. So
Thomas.
Yeah, it's
for the
UK. UK 4 and 7,
Thomas
and then
penis digits.
The Qatar local time, they're 6 and 10. So, aye.
I'm just trying to work out what potential times it's going to be for me. So I think that means it's 2 a.m. and 5 a.m.
Great times.
Result.
At least the England ones are the 5 a.m. so I can get up. But yeah, I don't know if the Aussie. I'd like to watch Aussie Argentina if that's the way it lands, but I don't know if I'll be meeting up with.
He said you're shy of getting up.
Anyways,
waited too long for that one.
So then we've got the games tomorrow, which obviously there's games to go on all the remaining groups. So you've got Spain, Japan. Spain are top in the group on 4 points, Japan on 3, Costa Rica on 3 with a shock result against Japan, who are facing Germany, who need to win. And they also need Spain to beat Japan to go through as well.
Yeah. So Germany win, Spain win, Germany, Spain go through, right?
Yeah. So they're not put Germany on 4 points, Spain on 7, Japan and Costa Rica 3 each. So
Germany see the Germans crash out,
that's the thing. But if Japan and Costa Rica were to win, Spain and Germany would both go out. So I don't think you're going to see a weak side by Spain.
No.
So unfortunately, they're not going to do a France and play a full second string team. You're going to get a full.
They need at least a draw, don't they, Spain, to ensure it. Yeah.
So it'll be another interesting day of football. You've got Group F, which Croatia, Morocco, Belgium, Canada. Canada are already out, 0 points. You've got Belgium on 3, Morocco and Croatia on 4 points each. And then you've got is it Belgium, Morocco, Croatia, Canada? That's the remaining group side. I guess Belgium lost to Morocco. Oh no, it's Belgium, Croatia.
Yep.
Yeah. Belgium beat Canada, lost to Morocco. Yeah.
So because Belgium might be going out as well.
Yeah, they need to win. They need to beat Croatia. A point's enough for Croatia to go through. And Morocco, I think, need a point to go through as well against Canada.
I reckon there's a lot of bad atmosphere in the Belgian camp.
I've seen that, yeah. Players literally not talking to each other.
Courtois and De Bruyne, I think.
There's another couple as well.
Don't know what's going on.
There's a bit of history there, though. I think something to do with somebody, Courtois maybe, or De Bruyne. One of the two, getting with the other one's misses or something like that. I think is.
That'll do it.
John Terry's.
I was thinking were they together back at the Chelsea days or what? No, adultery.
Yeah, I did.
Well, De Bruyne has said, hasn't he, that they're too old to win the World Cup. Which, as soon as your big player says that, you're like, well,
strange thing to
say.
Thinking
it.
Oh, it's a strange thing. I mean, Martinez is gone. It wouldn't surprise me he got sacked halfway through the fucking tournament. He's out the door.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, this will be end of their golden generation by the looks of it, with sort of De Bruyne. By the time the next tournament comes around, he'll be 32, 33. You've got Vertonghen and Alderweireld getting mid-late 30s. There's a lot of players getting on. So
on the cusp of it, aren't they? So they'll probably not be at the next one.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the last chances to do anything to try and win a tournament with the current crop of players. So the winner of that group obviously will win. Will play the second in Spain and Germany's group, which again could be anyone at this point. And then you've got Brazil's group. Brazil are already through. Switzerland second on 3 points. Cameroon, Serbia. Any team can go through in here. But yeah, they'll be fighting for second place pretty much. And they'll face the Group H, which is Portugal, Ghana, South Korea, Uruguay. And James, thank you for listening. Cheers for tipping Uruguay to us and getting us to put 20 quid on. The bottom of the group on 1 point. Jed, hot tip.
Baldy bastard.
Oh well, you can chip his bets, but not his hairline. South Korea, Uruguay on 1 point apiece. Ghana on 3, Portugal on 6. Portugal looking bang average, but already through. And then so another group where anyone can go through at this point. Another one. So Portugal is already through from those groups, but anyone else can progress from the rest of the teams. So whoever faces each other in the next round is really up for grabs. And that finishes it. So if we win against Senegal, I am getting ahead of myself, we'll play the winner of France versus either Poland or Mexico. It looks
so like play France then.
16. Yeah. So it'll be a 5 a.m. Sunday start for you, Sam.
Senegal, France, yeah. Okay. All right, well, let's move on to the Wales game then. We'll just go back to before kickoff. We saw Wales had Joe Allen come back into the team, and he's arguably a big player for Wales.
Oh, he is a big player, considering what the rest of the players are.
But he'd been injured, hadn't he? And I think that was his first few minutes against Iran. He came on against Iran, and then obviously Wayne Hennessy gets the red card against Iran, which means Danny Ward was in line to start. And his form's been decent for Leicester recently. It kind of like picked up with Leicester's recent pick-up in form. But he did concede 2 against Iran when he came on. So, what were your thoughts on Wales before kickoff? Because they kind of looked good in the second half against the US and pretty poor against Iran.
Exactly that. I thought they were pretty bang average against Iran, and overly reliant on Gareth Bale to pull them something out the bag. Just trying to play long ball to Kiefer Moore, and just didn't really seem to want to stick up there. Even the likes of Aaron Ramsey, who you'd like to think he's still got.
He passed it a long time ago, didn't he?
Yeah, he has, but you'd think on the big stage that something like he's still one of their most talented players, and you'd like to think that he could pull something out of the bag. But no, again, he was pretty bang average in the Iran game. So I thought the manner in which they lost that game so late on, obviously with Hennessy, doing his best karate impression as well, just seemed to just set them up for a fail. I think their belief seemed to have just ebbed away a bit after that result, and I mean, they knew what they had to do, like in order to get through against us. After seeing us not get the 3 points against the US, but yeah, I don't know. I think they'd already lost that game before it even started.
Yeah, well, there was a few of their players like pre-tournament giving it the big one about like they'll send us out and stuff.
The English players as well.
But I believe it was the first World Cup that qualified for in like 64 years, I think.
Oh, yeah, 64.
So it's obviously not a huge shock to see them go out. But were any of you guys slightly worried in the fact that we drew against the US, that it was going to be a tough game, or were you quite confident anyway?
More confident. USA looked a lot better team than Wales. I thought Wales would look shite all tournament. Maybe they've got nothing going forward. Which like Iran battered them in their sort of in Iran's final third. They were all over them. The ball was constantly in the Wales half. It was, I'd like to say a lot was for us as well, but when we played them, but we just I wouldn't say it was more in their half, especially not for the first half, because we controlled it, but we just seemed to we lacked a cutting edge, I think. But I think we didn't really expose them as much as we should have, and we didn't really get into them as much as we should have. After watching Wales the past couple of games, I've been like, they should be all over. I think we made it harder than it should have been.
Like that first half, like compared to the first half against USA, like it was chalk and cheese. Like USA could have scored a couple of times against us in the first half, whereas the Wales game, we were in full control, we had a few decent chances, and like I felt completely different at half time in the Wales game than we did in the USA. USA, I felt like
out of ideas, even though it was the same scoreline.
Yeah, even though it was the same scoreline, I just felt like we were always going to get through against Wales, and they offered nothing. Even if we lost the ball, even if we like had any shite shots or whatever, give the ball away, like they never offered anything on the counter attack.
So I'm not worried something was coming against US for them, but against Wales, you were thinking they're not going to score. Nothing's coming here.
Yeah, well, there was talk before the game, like, should we rest some of our key players? There was obviously the kind of uproar that Foden didn't get any minutes against USA. So, what were your thoughts on the lineups when you saw the changes Southgate had made?
Obviously Trippier dropped out, which was, I think, to be expected. Partly down to, I thought in the first two games he looked a little bit rusty, or his passing wasn't quite right, and obviously Kyle Walker, they were trying to get some fitness in for him because he hadn't been playing for a while. So I think Trippier, of anybody of the players to have played in both of the opening games, was definitely the first one that could drop out for me. Just on he hadn't affected in the US game. He did look particularly. He wasn't his best game, put it that way. So yeah, Walker coming in there was the right call, I thought. And then changes up top as well to not have Saka or Sterling was interesting call. Again, neither of them had done enough in the US game for me, and we'd all been calling for Foden to get a start, which he did, and obviously Rashford as well, because he looked bright in the Iran game when he came on and obviously got a goal. So yeah, I thought those were good calls really. The Henderson one, that did give me a little worry. It was a little worry in that call. I thought, why? I don't want him to just throw him in there because he thinks he has to just be, tighten things up in midfield and not offer anything creatively in that position. So that one worried me a little. But the other calls I thought were valid ones.
Yeah, when you see Henderson coming in, you're kind of assuming there's going to be Henderson and Rice both sitting, maybe doing like double pivot, and then you've got, because Kyle Walker's come on, that he's going to be bombing up the right, and Shaw's going to be getting up on the left. But in the first half, it didn't really seem to happen. So I don't know really why he brought Henderson in. Maybe for his leadership, because we did see him screaming at Harry Maguire a bit and stuff like that.
I was about to say that. He was screaming at everybody, whether it was good or whether it was bad. He was screaming at them, pumping them up. He might have just been his experience and his leadership just to sort of keep things calm, settle things down. He's been there before, just to sort of hold everything together, maybe.
Yeah.
He's not a bad player. We know he's not a bad player, but he's a bit, like, we all know his legs are going a bit, and well, his legs are gone anyway. So maybe it was just to show things up a bit, and just to keep everyone's minds at ease. And maybe,
I don't think, like, bringing Walker in, I don't think that was tactical at all. I think that was just getting minutes in his legs. Like, as you said, he doesn't offer much going forward. He never has done. Like for City, he doesn't offer. Yeah, he doesn't offer a load of attacking threat. I think he's bringing in to get minutes in his legs to basically prepare him for potentially playing five at the back in the later rounds. I think that's all it was. I don't think it was particularly tactical. I think it was just getting some fitness up. And then, obviously the wingers coming on. Saka's got no right to be benched because he's scored 2 goals in the first game, and he's looked really good. I thought he looks really sharp, and he's also direct.
Was he just resting legs?
I think he was resting Saka.
I think so.
And obviously everyone was clamouring for Foden, and Rashford played well. So I thought those attacking subs.
It was a good problem to have, really, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's given us a chance to rest good players and bring in good players. So.
And now it's a good headache to have going into the round of 16. Like, who does he start now on the wings? Jesus.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, he plays for Brazil, so probably not him, but... I'll just get him before one of you said it.
Yeah.
As I said it, I was like, he's on getting in there.
It is a good headache to have, because of all of them, Sterling probably, although he scored as well, I would be looking maybe to have him drop out for the game against Senegal, and then have Rashford in from the start, and have Rashford and Saka.
Yeah. Rashford left, Saka right, and then
I'll have Foden. What would you do about Mount? I was going to say, what would you do about Mount?
Drop Mount.
Yeah, for me, he deserves to be dropped. Not he's been terrible.
I don't think Southgate will, though.
No,
because he's already said he can't play Foden in that central position.
I just wish Maddison was fully fit so he could play there. Yeah. I'd love for him to be cutting in between the lines in there. But
even if he was, though, would he play him? Didn't take him to the Nations League. So
he's taken him when he knows he wasn't fully fit. He must have had an idea that he's going to play him, or he could play him.
You could argue then, is he taking him because he more than likely get hammered because of the fantastic form he was in the Prem? Why? You have to take him because
Southgate doesn't bow under pressure. He took fucking Maguire and everyone. He doesn't bow outside pressure.
He's got the perfect excuse as well. They just say he's not fit.
Exactly.
So
he's only just back training, isn't
he? Before the wheels go by.
Pre-tournament, he could have just said he's in great form, but he's not fully fit, so I've not selected
Can't take him. Yeah.
But it's that. We've obviously got great options on both wings now, but it's that number 10 role in it where we saw Bellingham step into it, but Mount's been playing there and not really being effective.
He's not done any good or bad.
Yeah, no. He's been a bit of a passenger in some games.
Yeah.
I feel slightly for him though, because I think it's partly because Kane's sitting so deep that he's too close to Mount.
He's almost taken Mount more often.
Yeah, I think they're getting in each other's way a little bit. But we've kind of talked about Foden, and I think Foden needs to start. I don't really care where. Personally, I'd put him in the Mount role, but I don't think Southgate will.
No.
But then that obviously means if he's not going to play him there, then he's got to play him on the wing. And then which winger do you drop for Foden?
You kind of...
Well,
kind of drop Saka. Like,
this is the interesting thing, though, because at half-time it was 0-0, and then he swaps the wingers at half-time.
Mm-hmm.
So Rashford and Foden swap sides, and that's when we start to get the joy.
Instantly score.
So Foden does that drive and run, and it is actually through the centre. Like, he comes off the left through the centre, wins the free kick, and Rashford scores the free kick. But then they both go on to score again. Well, sure. Do we just go with that for the next game? Foden left, Rashford right. Obviously,
I don't think
harsh on Saka, but
I don't think you change it up that much. I think Rashford
change it
starts
from that from the Wales game. Or?
Yeah, I don't think you'll change. Maybe I don't know.
No, I think he will. He will. I think he'll revert back to some of the players.
I think Rashford will start over Sterling.
I don't think Sterling should be starting. Like, personally.
Yeah,
he scored 2 good goals. Like, he scored 2. The free kick was a rocket, and that goal where we all know we were screaming for him to pass it to Wilson because Wilson's on his own at the edge of the box. And he has to score that, otherwise he gets hammered.
It's terrible goalkeeping, though. It's directly at him. He makes 2 players.
Bad goalkeeping. Yeah.
Goes to the defender's legs and it goes to the keeper's legs.
It was good feet by Rashford to cut inside and then get the shot away. But yes,
Wilson was fucking screaming for it. You can see him arms out wide, like, give us it.
I think he was slightly disappointed not disappointed because he scored and there wasn't like an instant reaction from Wilson. He was like, all right, okay, get in. But he was obviously still thinking, fuck's sake, it could have been like my first World Cup goal.
That could have been my World Cup goal,
yeah. See, Grealish tried to cut it back from when he came on, just to repay the favour.
He didn't quite get it, did he?
Yeah.
But that puts Rashford on the
Golden Boot.
3 goals, isn't it?
He's on 3,
yeah, so he's level with Gakpo and Valencia, is it?
Mbappe.
And Mbappe as well. Yeah. That's good for Rashford.
So, what were your thoughts overall then after the game ends, performance-wise and obviously results-wise?
Just before going to that, Sam, I was going to say, what do you think about the impact Wilson had? Because
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, me and Alex were talking about this earlier, and as we alluded to in the last one, for me, I've been saying it for months, Kane's dropping far too deep. Wilson comes on, he's pressing the defence off the line. So
yeah, he's playing on like last man, and he's stretching the defence.
It was a drastic change, a noticeable change. I thought, whether Kane's like feeling a bit run down, a bit lethargic, whatever, whether he's just he's dead on his feet, we don't know. But that change was massive. The top Rashford, Foden, and Wilson were playing that high press.
Changed the full team dynamic. Like,
we looked like we could have got more. We should have got more. Stones should have scored as well. So
Ward was spooning kicks out of play left, right, and centre.
Exactly.
Wilson like chasing them down.
Did you notice that he was like laughing after everything he did as well?
No.
He's proper like Martin Tyler was saying like it's just his personality, like he's a proper cheerful bloke and that or whatever. But he was like spooning his kicks and then just decent to himself.
I enjoyed himself. That'll be his last one.
But
fair play.
The noticeable change in dynamic was colossal. I thought, but
I think he's done enough in those 2 cameos to prove to Southgate he can be relied upon when he comes off the bench. Well, he's creating chances every time he comes on, and he's helping press and force mistakes every time he comes on. So I think going forward, I think Southgate hopefully will see his performances and think like, I can't trust him to come on the 60-minute mark or whatever if Kane's fucked, which He seems to be every game.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting what happens with Kane against France, by the way. If he's, and like you say, was it 60 minutes he came on, Wilson? Or
He'd beat Senegal first, pal.
Sorry, yes, I'm getting excited next. We might as well just discount Senegal. Even Senegal, then. Touch wood. Even Senegal with it. He's not going to play Wilson. He's not going to play Wilson because he's going to be Kane.
No, you can't. You can't. You've got to stop him, but you can rely on him if he wants to bring him on.
Yeah, I think you could be right. He's obviously got an extra 10 minutes compared to what he did against USA, didn't he?
I think the game was already won by this point, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You could argue, anyways.
He still made a show for himself.
Both times he's came on so far, it's been basically like the game's kind of gone.
Mm.
We've already basically won it. Like, obviously you can't really say that in football, but pretty much. So it'll be interesting to see if he makes a change and brings Wilson on. Should we need a goal or yeah?
I'm not sure he'd do it,
No,
I'm not sure he'd have the balls to take Kane off if we need a goal.
I don't think he's got the balls to do that at all. Not a chance.
No.
Imagine he did.
Because
I was going to say, imagine he did take Kane off. God forbid Wilson had the chance and fucking spooned it, missed it, whatever, and it'd be like, Kane wouldn't have done that. Kane would have buried it. You know what I mean?
Well, now we're at knockouts as well.
Sterling.
Well, exactly.
There's
I don't
penalties.
think he's got the balls to do it at all.
There's the penalty factor as well with knockout football that would. I know Wilson very much capable of taking pens and has done for the Toon, but you take Kane off, like
that's a great point.
With a penalty shootout looming potentially in one of the games, and you just don't do it. You just don't do it.
When you've got stuff like that, though, if it's going to come to that, you have got other players to take off, i.e., it's trying to pick Mount, for example, Saka, for example.
I was going to say Saka, Rashford both take pens.
Yeah, and I know that, but I'm trying to pick players who could take pens. Do you know what I mean? Wilson takes them all the time for Newcastle, so if he needs to, but like you say, Rice, yeah, exactly. If it comes to it,
sure, he takes them for West Ham. Sure, he's taking one or two.
But it's going to be a hard choice, that, because if it is 60 minutes and it's 0-0, 70 minutes, whatever, does he make the call to take Kane off?
No chance. Literally no chance.
That's the thing. So does that mean, does Wilson actually come on?
As a second striker? Well, that's the only way.
Yeah, that's what I'm making with.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I think that would be literally just hoying the bodies on by this point if we were desperate. I don't think that would be like, let's
I think
go for to influence the game.
Would wait for extra time in that scenario, not towards the end of 90 minutes. We'd probably stay with the same shape, formation, and yeah.
But what I'm saying is, obviously Wilson's been coming on at 70, 80 minutes. Does he still do that, or does he think if it is 0-0, or does he think, right, shit? Does he think, we need the goal here, we need more attacking threat, or does he think, right, I'm going to bring him on in extra time? That's obviously a manager's call, isn't it? So
it's Southgate.
Yeah. I think he'd hold out for extra time. Yeah, he would. He'd take it to full time and then assess again in extra time.
Absolutely.
To throw Wilson on, I think. But
the thing is, though, as well, like where you're saying about the press and everything like that. If it is 0-0, even if he does this at extra time, if you think the fresh legs that are coming in, we've just been talking about the headache of the wingers and stuff. We've got such talent in those positions coming on with fresh legs, and then you put Wilson on, and it just changes like the actual way that we play football. Like we were saying, like now we're pressing, now we're stretching the defence. Wilson's on the last man. Can you imagine being the defenders in that situation? You've just played 90 minutes of football, and then you're getting like the talent of Grealish or somebody, and like
a fresh front three to play against.
Yeah, but also the change in like you're getting used to the fact that Kane's deep, he's dropping deep, and then suddenly you've got Wilson playing on your shoulder, and you've got to change to that as well. So
and then you've got obviously Foden and Rashford actually taking the ball and driving at the defenders.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing is Wilson's actually bringing in those like quality forward players more than Kane is. He's given the chances to like the Grealishes and whoever's coming on. So it's not just like the straight swap in terms of like you're losing Harry Kane. Because it's bringing in, like, you could argue that somebody like Phil Foden's actually the best talent we have in the squad. And Wilson's bringing him into the game more than Kane is. So, I don't know, for me, like, obviously we have this debate on the WhatsApp group chat and stuff. And the point's being made that Kane's obviously the best striker we have in England, and he's debatable top 3 in Premier League at least. But does Wilson change the way we play so that we're getting more out of the other players?
Yeah, it's a good point. Instead of it all being a one-man target.
Yeah, so you're not just like you're not comparing Wilson to Kane necessarily. You're comparing the front 3 with Wilson in there compared to the front 3 with Kane in there.
Point. I think he makes more. I agree with you. I think he makes more of the front 3 as a unit. Instead of it just being the 2 wingers bombing forward, ball getting played into the box, not really anyone there. Wilson's on the line, on the last man line. He's almost running with the ball. The ball's going down that line. Wilson's parallel to it, so there's always someone there. He's saying quite a lot when he's been very unselfish, holding the ball up on the edge of the box, in the box, just waiting for that little pass. Which he seems quite good at. We're obviously massive Callum Wilson fans, do you know what I mean? So we're always going to sing his praises. But
the other thing you got to remember as well is Kane's fitness. So hopefully, come the next game, you might be a bit more rested. He came off a bit earlier, so we could see like total different front 3 the way they're playing with Kane at like full capacity, and he's going to be absolutely like choking for a goal as well.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Interested. So let's go to the result, like what we think of that result against Wales. Obviously, it ends 3-0. Were you pleased with that result? Did you think we should have maybe done a bit more?
We finished top of the group, won 3-0, kept a clean sheet.
Comfortable.
You can't grumble at 3-0. Like,
I predicted 3-0 personally. It worked, so I was happy with that. But like
you didn't on the pod, though, did you?
I didn't on the pod, no. We've got like a predictor thing at work, like a bit of money in the pot, and everyone predicts the scores. Like that's like one of the only ones I've got right out of the whole tournament. But yeah, like Dawson says, it was basics, comfortable, no problems, no injuries, touch wood. So you couldn't not be happy with it. Like top of the group as well.
Yeah.
Unbeaten, 2 clean sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What more do you want? Like, Southgate out.
Yeah, it's just the thing, isn't it?
Good every time.
But this is what happens. This is what happened in the Euros. What a couple of shitty performances. And it's like, what a joke the performances are. I'm guilty of it. I think
and Harry Kane didn't score in the group stage either. And got goal in the boot.
There we go. It's quite funny. It'll be interesting to see what happens from now on. Because the way to see if we actually change the way we play somehow, then it'll obviously show that it was partially tactics. For example, like it being a bit depressing in the Wales game, sitting sort of back in the USA game. Is he just conserving energy, quite comfortable that we're going to make it through, no problem? Do we start now going up the gears? Now we're through the group stages. Be interesting to see. I hope we do, because now is the time that we've got to sort of put a finger on the pulse a bit.
Let's be honest. Senegal are going to be. I mean, it's not always a given that the team you play in the first knockout round is going to be better than any of the teams you played in the group stages. Some teams can just fluke their way through, but I think Senegal, to be fair to them, will be the toughest the opponent that we'll have come across.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
They've looked good. They were very competitive against Netherlands in the opening game. Were unfortunate.
They don't stop, do they?
No, they even without Mane, like they have looked like, you know, that they're still got they've still got quick players in there. They've got plenty talent still. Let's be honest, plenty Premier League players in that team, and they're going to be a tough test. So yeah, it's definitely not a walkover. But yeah, obviously we're backing us to win, but but they'll still have some danger. I think Senegal.
You'll never believe who's scored, by the way. You'll never believe it. Alex Dorsari, he scored again.
Oh, what lad?
So yeah, Mexico are out, pulling the through.
Oh,
Wow.
so that means RGs are through top, yeah.
RGs are finished top, yeah. They won 2-0 in the end, so it was comfortable. It could have been more. So you've Argentina.
They would have went through second, would they? If Saudi had scored an equaliser.
I'm not sure. I think they had to win because I think they would have went out on goal difference to Portugal. They would have finished on 4 points with a worse goal difference than Poland. Sorry. So they would have went out on goal difference by 1 if they equalised.
Oh, I was on about the wrong group one. Right then, so before the tournament, if you remember, I predicted England were going to go out against Senegal in the round of 16.
So you're wrong.
So do I, mate. But let's have a prediction for the scores. I'm going to stick with it, and I think we're going to end up going out against Senegal. But I think it will go to extra time and maybe penalties, and we'll go out. But hopefully I'm wrong.
2-0 for me, I think. 2-0 England. I'm going to go from...
Yeah, I think it's going to be
2-0, 2-1. Dose.
Sneaky little 1-0.
Sneaky little 1-0.
Sneaky 1-0.
Sneaky little 1-0. 0-0 half time as usual.
By the way, just want to mention Maguire, because he was the fucking best man on the pitch against USA. Aye, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Trippier coming on left back, by the way.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention that.
But
I think he had his best game.
Maguire was getting fucking slated. We all slated him. I think I was about to say there. I think he's shite for Man United, but he was like a brick wall against USA there. He had a great game. He's played brilliant all tournaments so far.
I read something about somebody made a comment about he feels or he must feel at home with England more so because the limelight's taken off of him, and you know he's not like not the captain of Man United who are sinking ship. He's like he just seems to just come into his own a lot more with an England shirt on.
Must be like playing with his mates for England instead of playing with all names at Man United. You know what it's like? Like your Varans, your Casemiros and all that. It's your Ronaldos. You're just in it full of names. You're thinking, shit, like I've got to play up to their level that they've played. You probably get more like, maybe not nervous, but more like beats himself up with it. Whereas with England, obviously it helps that everyone speaks English, everyone gets on, everyone has a laugh. So it might be like almost like a bit of a release for him. The way things are at Man United at the minute, it might be a bit of a release just to get away with the lads and play some football. Sounds bad because that's his fucking job as it is. But
the dressing room's not been right at Man U for years now.
Well, this is it. So he obviously came with a big fee, a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and he's captain.
Big
heat. All the eyes are on Man United, and if they mess up against fucking hell, Wolves, if they mess up against them, otherwise, Harry Maguire, he's a centre half, he's the captain, he's shite, blah blah blah. But it's a lot of pressure off him. taken off when he comes to when he plays for England. Like,
yeah, you got to think as well. Like, he's like the captain in the Man United dressing room, and then you got Ronaldo coming in, and that must just totally, like, I don't know, just emasculate him. He's like not the top dog anymore, and I think that's one thing we have to commend Gareth Southgate for, is the feeling he's brought to this England team, and you can tell, like, they're just a great group, like, and they all get on really well, and there's so much, like, unity there, like similar to Newcastle in a way, like just a good unit of guys together, all working for the same goal. And like we were talking during the game that Henderson was like screaming at Harry Maguire, and it's like there's quite a few in there that are like captains. It's not just him, like you say. He's obviously not the captain for England, but also there's a unit of captains there that are all like taking some of the pressure onto their shoulders, not just his. So I think you could be right that it's definitely more mindset.
You see the little snippets, don't you, on the social medias of when they're like, they've obviously got them on the videos and it's on Twitter and all that, just having a piss about in training and all that, and all the lads get on with each other, they're all having a laugh. Like,
yeah,
it does seem like a great unity. Like, just seen a photo there on Twitter, Trent put up that him and Jude Bellingham have just gone for a wander around Qatar, like they were best pals. So they don't even play in the same league in the same country. So
Liverpool fans will be getting wet
Liverpool
over that.
fans.
really tapping them up for Liverpool.
They're going to be creaming.
Basically what we were saying about fucking the boys in Madison then.
Sorry, we've got the money. Got no money in Liverpool, man.
They will
Some the club.
For that, like,
They can't afford Bellingham. We can.
I know. 100%. Just trying to disguise that yawn there, Sam, will you? It's very early in Australia, boys. By the way. That's why. Let them off.
Anything else before we wrap up then?
Yawns and that's it.
Off the bed. Back to bed.
Yeah, no. Not a lot from me, mate.
Should we revise our predictions in terms of how far we're going to get through? Like, now we're actually through the group.
Damn, stick with mine.
Are you guys
beat by France?
Beat by France.
Yeah. Because now it is all but confirmed that France will be in that quarterfinal, isn't it? So
it's France v Poland for the spot who would list our winner. Yeah.
I mean, fucking, I'll be supporting Poland. Like,
got to, right?
Don't get us wrong.
Question, mate. Without question.
But
11 goals.
Yeah, for me, I do think we're going to struggle against Senegal. Like, but hopefully I'm wrong. All right. Well, if there's no else, then thanks again to Sword Thailand for sponsoring this episode. You let us get through it that time. Guys, if you're still listening, please consider following, subscribing, hitting the like button. It does really help us out. Hit the notification bell if you are on YouTube, and you can see exactly when we release new content. And leave us a comment. We had some good comments on the last episode.
I get the questions in. Get the questions in.
Nice, healthy debate going on one of the highlights. So yeah, check out the YouTube channel. Check out all the podcast platforms, and join us in the next one where we'll hopefully be discussing England in a quarter final. See you then.
Wanna hear you go.